Someone secretly looked up her address online. What investigators discovered next shocked everyone. The last ordinary night picture, a church pew, empty. Sunday morning, February 1st, 26, Nancy Guthrie didn't miss church, ever. That single absence set everything in motion. She was 84 years old, sharp, independent, deeply loved. She lived in the Catalina Foothills, one of Tucson's most affluent, peaceful neighborhoods. The night before, she had dinner at her daughter Annie's home, a regular Saturday, a warm family evening. Annie drove her home afterward. Nancy walked through her front door. The door closed behind her. That was the last moment anyone who loved her saw her alive. Stay with us through this entire video because by the end, you're going to understand two things that most coverage of this case has completely missed: the digital trail the suspect may have left behind and the specific piece of technology that could identify them. Here's where it gets disturbing. FBI footage from Nancy's front door camera shows an armed individual arriving in the early morning hours of February. First, he wasn't panicking. He wasn't rushing. He held a flashlight between his teeth, both hands free, deliberate, focused. He tampered with the camera first, before anything else. The person knew the camera was there. They planned around it. This was not random. This was not opportunistic. If cases like this matter to you, subscribe now. We cover them with the detail they actually deserve. Savannah Guthrie. Annie. 3 adult children posted a raw public plea on Instagram days later, begging a faceless stranger to bring their mother home. Who plans this carefully, and why did they choose her? While the family pleaded publicly, investigators were already chasing a lead so specific, so technical, that when a retired detective revealed it on national television, it reframed this entire case. The digital fingerprint, here's promise one, delivered exactly as we told you it would be. The suspect may have left a digital trail. And it starts with something as ordinary as a Google search. Retired Detective Buhler went on News Nation and said something that stopped investigators cold. He didn't speculate. He laid out a precise technical theory based on how digital records actually work. If somebody ever plugged her address into a Google search or Google Maps, those records are maintained for a period of time. You do a reverse keyword search on that address. You find any random person who typed it in. Then you contact them and find out, why did you search this address? Read that again slowly. Because what he's describing is real. Google and mapping platforms log search activity. Law enforcement can request records of who searched a specific address and when. That query returns a list of people: delivery drivers, realtors, old friends, and possibly someone with no legitimate reason at all. Most of those people get eliminated immediately. But one name on that list might be the person who walked up to Nancy's door that night with a flashlight in his teeth. That's the first thread. Here's the second one. Buhler pointed out that modern vehicles carry embedded tracking systems, not just GPS, movement data logged automatically by the vehicle itself. Investigators can pull records of every car present near the Catalina Foothills that morning and determine whether each driver had a legitimate reason to be there. Delivery drivers get eliminated. The car with no business being there, that car becomes a suspect. And running alongside both of those threads, the FBI was working something else entirely. DNA evidence collected inside Nancy's home went first to a private lab in Florida. After 11 weeks, that sample escalated to the FBI's Advanced Analysis Unit, 2 labs, escalating urgency, and still no public result. The digital world remembers everything. Even what the suspect believed they had erased, the technology exists. The records exist. So what is actually standing between investigators and an arrest? That question is darker and more complicated than anything you've seen reported. The question no one is asking now, here's promise 2, and this one is going to stay with you. The suspect chose Nancy Guthrie specifically. This was not random. And the digital search theory proves it, because if someone typed her home address into a search engine before February 1st, they already knew where she lived, they researched her, they selected her, they planned the approach. That changes everything about how we understand this crime. Now consider what investigators have been sitting with for 5 months. Here are 5 things this case has confirmed, and what each one actually means. 1. The abductor disabled Nancy's doorbell camera before entering. This required prior knowledge of its location. Planning, not panic. 2. Sheriff Chris Nanos went a full month without holding a public press conference. Silence in an active abduction case is almost never accidental. 3. The FBI took T-mails seriously after the disappearance, including what appeared to be a Bitcoin ransom demand. That note has never been confirmed as genuine or dismissed as a hoax. 4. A volunteer search group submitted a 41-page proposal. Canine units, drones, medical equipment. The sheriff's department returned 0 response. Why refuse organized help in an active missing persons case? 5. Authorities have never publicly stated whether they believe Nancy Guthrie is alive. 5 months in, that silence is its own kind of answer. Each one of those 5 points is a thread, and none of them have been publicly resolved. The ransom note is perhaps the most disturbing unresolved detail in this entire case. A potential demand for Nancy's life sent to media outlets, taken seriously by the FBI, and then nothing. No confirmation, no denial, no update. What do investigators know that they are not saying? And is their silence protecting the case or protecting something else? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Do you think investigators have already pulled those Google search records and they're just not telling us? Because when you strip away every press conference and every silence and every theory, you are left with one image: an armed man at an old woman's door at night with a plan. The armed man at the door, go back to that FBI doorbell image. Look at it carefully. Armed, flashlight held between his teeth, both hands deliberately free. He approached the camera first, not the door, the camera. He neutralized the witness before he made his move. This is not the behavior of someone acting on impulse. This is rehearsed. This is someone who thought through the steps in advance and executed them in sequence. Sheriff Nanos confirmed a specific vehicle appeared on a Ring camera near Nancy's property that morning. As of the last public update, no identification had been made on the driver. The family has been fully and definitively cleared. This came from outside. A stranger chose her. Now apply Buehler's vehicle tracking theory directly to that Ring camera footage. A specific vehicle, a specific time. Modern cars log movement data automatically. If that vehicle was manufactured in the last several years, its own internal systems may have recorded exactly where it was that morning. 2 data streams, 1 vehicle, 1 potential name. The DNA collected inside Nancy's home has now been analyzed by the FBI's advanced unit. No public result exists. That silence is either careful legal strategy or a sign that the evidence is more complex than anyone has acknowledged. In May 2026, Sheriff Nanos used one specific word. He said investigators were getting closer. Not there. Closer. That word is carrying enormous weight. No suspect named, no charge filed, an armed man still unidentified. And Nancy Guthrie, 5 months gone. Share this video right now. Nancy's family is still asking for the public's help. Someone watching this may know something. Tell me in the comments, what do you think investigators already know but aren't saying publicly? What detail stands out most to you? 5 months, no arrest, 1 family, and a digital trail that a retired detective believes points directly to whoever did this. Here's exactly where this case stands right now. What the evidence is waiting to say: step back from the investigation for a moment. Her name was Nancy Guthrie. She was 84 years old. She raised 3 children. She went to dinner with her daughter on a Saturday night, and she never came home. That is the truth at the center of all of this. 5 months later, no named suspect, no public word on whether she is alive. A ransom note that may or may not have come from the person who took her. But here is what has changed. The FBI escalated the DNA analysis. The sheriff said they are closer. And the digital records that Buehler described, if investigators pursued them, create a net that may already be tightening around someone. In May 2026, forensic experts confirmed that human bones found near the search area were prehistoric, unrelated, a false alarm. But that moment reminded everyone how long this search has stretched and how desperate the need for resolution has become. Someone searched her address, someone drove to her neighborhood, someone stood at her door with a plan. And somewhere in a Google server, in a vehicle's memory, in an FBI lab, the answer to what happened to Nancy Guthrie may already exist. She missed church that Sunday morning. Her family is still waiting for her to come home. One last question. Do you believe Nancy Guthrie will be found? Tell me what you think happened that night. Subscribe for updates as this case develops. And share this video because the right person seeing it could change everything.